Hello Summoners, and welcome to our very first video on new OP Korean builds. A bunch of you guys have been asking us for our personal recommendations on this topic, and luckily for you guys we have a lot of connections to Korean Challenger, and we're here to give you the best and latest builds to help you guys stay one step ahead of the competition. Today I'll be going through a few of the new builds that have been popping up in Korean solo queue recently. We made sure to include new builds for every role, so you can pick a handful of these and try them out in your next games. Let's get started with the top lane. Cho'Gath has recently received a series of buffs in the past few patches. Firstly, his E damage was increased by a small amount and the cooldown on his Q was decreased by 2 seconds. Due to just how spammable his Q has become, a lot of Korean players have been going full AP on Cho'Gath rather than the traditional tank role. The build usually consists of rushing a Hextech Proto Belt into Luden's Echo, and then whatever AP items are best in your given game. They've also been taking Electrocute to increase their burst potential, followed by either Ignite or Teleport. This build does a nasty amount of damage and can one-shot any squishy member on the enemy team that gets hit by your Q. With this build, you want to max your Q first, since it has a 1.0 AP ratio. This is just insane. Next, we have Kayle. Ever since her rework, she's been a bit too strong in the current meta, which has led some nerfs this patch. Even so, Kayle is still a great pick, and there's even a new build on her that's been rising in popularity. There were usually two main build paths for Kayle, the hybrid-style Hextech Gunblade, or the AD-style Triforce Rush. Since the start of patch 9.7, a lot of Korean top laners have been going with a Blade of the Ruined King Rush, followed by a Ginsu's Rage Blade. They're basically itemizing Kayle the same way you would Vayne, making her a tank melting machine. The build also uses Kleptomancy because you can proc it for free when you're against melee top laners. This just helps her get to her power spikes faster. You can even pick up the newly reworked Wit's End as a third item if the enemy team has a lot of magic damage. Personally, this build path feels a lot better than the Gunblade or Triforce route, and I'm highly recommending you guys give it a try. On to the jungle! There's been a few new builds in the jungle that have been appearing in Korean Challenger, and we've decided that there are only two worth mentioning. Dr. Mundo has only been getting stronger every patch. The recent buffs on his Q and E damage have helped out his jungle clear speed, and a ton of players are testing him out. The build calls for fleet footwork with a full tank route. With the recent buffs to Cinderhulk on top of all the buffs to Mundo's kit, he's definitely a force to be reckoned with. In terms of item builds, you want to rush Cinderhulk into either Spirit Visage or Thornmail, and then whatever tank items you want. If you're really fed early on, then you can even pick up a Tiamat to eventually build into a Titanic Hydra. There are a few downsides to Dr. Mundo Jungle though. His ganking isn't the best, and his crab clear speed is very slow since he has no hard CC. However, if you path correctly and play the early game slow and methodically, you can hit his power spikes with no problem. The next one is a pretty standard pick, but has recently become extremely overpowered in the jungle. Kindred has been rising in strength ever since the reworked Conqueror rune, and she's finally solidifying her status as a top-tier jungler. The rank 1 Korean solo queue player was a Kindred one-trick after all. It just goes to show how powerful this champion is. The amount of healing she gets with Conqueror, Ravenous Hunter, Wit's End, and a Blade of the Ruined King is insane. Enemy teams must build Grievous Wounds against her, or they're screwed. If you know how to pilot Kindred at a high level, then you should really start playing her more often. The build is simple. You want to take Conqueror with Domination second. Make sure to take Ravenous Hunter and either Zombie Ward or Sudden Impact. Then you want to rush Blood Razor into Boots, into Blade of the Ruined King, or Black Cleaver. This is definitely the best build on her, and a lot of Kindred one-tricks have been using this to great success. Next up, we have the mid lane. Talia's play rate has been going up because almost all of her bad matchups have been getting nerfed. As of patch 9.7, she's considered an S-tier champion by many pro mid laners, and every Korean mid laner has been spamming her in solo queue. She has very few bad matchups right now, so it makes sense that she'd return to the meta this patch. Players such as Yucal were the first to spam her again, and he's been taking Electrocute with Minion Dematerializer and Time Warp Tonic. For items, you want to rush Luden's Echo into a Morello and then build whatever items are best for your given game. Having double Magic Pen items with your Boots and Oblivion Orb will make you do a crazy amount of burst, and you can pretty much one-shot any squishy champion. Some pro players have even been rushing a Hextech GLP instead of Luden's Echo to make it easier to hit her burst combo. Give both builds a try in your next few normal games and let us know how that goes in the comments below. Ahri is sitting at the top of the mid lane tier list right now, and she is at the highest win rate in patch 9.7. The main build that players have been using is the utility GLP with Glacial Augment that we all love playing against. Using your GLP combined with Twin Shadows will pretty much perma-slow your opponents and make it really easy for you to hit your skill shots. If you take the time to learn her, then you'll see just how strong she is right now. Some players have been sticking to the traditional Electrocute route with Luden's Echo Rush, but it's clear that Glacial Augment is more popular. A lot of players will underestimate just how easy it is for you to one-shot someone after your GLP purchase and will not respect your burst. Catch them off guard with a quick all-in once you hit your GLP power spike. Alright, AD carry time. A lot of runes and items were changed at the start of this patch, which has resulted in AD builds changing quite a bit. Here are 2 new builds that we found appearing in Korean Challenger recently. The first build we'll talk about is Hybrid Kai'Sa. Although this was quite popular before, the play rate has gone down quite significantly after the nerfs to her passive damage. However, Hybrid Kai'Sa has been seeing more play recently, and a few players have been doing this consistently in their games. You want to take Press the Attack with the Inspiration Tree and start with a Doran's Blade. Then you go straight into a Stormrazor and Ginsu for the easy skill upgrades. Then build a Nashor's Tooth. From there you can go straight into the AP carry style and build items like Zanya's or Deathcap. The AD style is still the more popular build, but the AP style can be useful if your team has a lot of AD already. With this playstyle, you can play more aggressively since you can build items like Banshees, GA, and Zanya's together. Just remember, even with so many defensive items, you aren't invincible, so think twice about ulting in and going full Uzi mode. Next up, we have a more generic build path for all AD carries. This applies to pretty much any AD carry that can go in on-hit builds such as Vayne, Kog'Maw, and Kalista. As we all know, at the start of patch 9.7, Wit's End was reworked, and it's insanely strong right now. Getting a Wit's End as a third item, or later on in the game, is getting pretty popular in Korea. Against all AP comps, having this item can really help you become super tanky. On top of all of that, on-hit damage now scales into the late game and even heals you while you're below 50% HP. This makes the new reworked Wit's End a perfect item for AD carries. You probably shouldn't get this second since it's more effective later on in the game, but try it out in your favorite carries such as Twitch, Vayne, and even on junglers like Kindred. And finally, we have our supports. There's been a sudden increase in play when it comes to full AP supports in Korea right now, and most of them have been taking GLP with Glacial Augment. The concept is the same as the GLP Ahri build that we mentioned earlier. You want to use the slows you get to land more skill shots and kill your enemies easier. Supports such as Karma, Morgana, and even the uncommon Talia have all been showing up more with this playstyle, and it seems to be working. You generally want to go Glacial Augment with Domination second for the ingenious Hunter cooldown reduction. Next, you want to complete your second upgrade to Spell Thief's Edge, and then start rushing your utility items like Hextech GLP and Twin Shadows. Having these super slow items can make ganks really easy for your jungler as well, so make sure to tell him to gank once you grab one of these items. I've tried this build personally, and it's a lot of fun tilting the enemy laners with perma-slows and CC. This is probably my favorite support build setup right now, and I highly recommend you guys give it a shot. Last but not least, we have our final new build for patch 9.7, which is an Athene's Unholy Grail Rush on shielding supports. We've been seeing a sudden increase in this build path for Janna and Soraka, and quite honestly, it's been doing really well in the meta. The theory behind this is instead of rushing an Ardent Sensor to make your ADC do more damage, you rush more healing so you can keep your ADC alive, giving them more damage output in the long run. It's definitely a situational build, but it can work pretty well in most scenarios. You can even use this build on champions like Lulu and Nami if you want to be extra annoying, but it definitely works best on Soraka. That's it for our new OP Korean builds video. This was our very first video of the new series, so we'd love to hear your suggestions on how to make these videos better. If you enjoyed watching this video, then please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this in the future. Also, if you have any questions on League in general and how you guys want to get better, just leave some questions in the comments down below and we'll try our best to respond. If you're interested in getting a higher rank in League of Legends this season, then please check out ProGuides.com for more content that was made by our favorite pro players, such as Nightblue, Boxbox, and Bunny Fufu. We'll also be releasing an exclusive detailed guide on one of the newest and most OP junglers in the meta, Urgot, in the next coming days, so make sure to press the subscribe button if you guys want to see that video as well. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the Rift.